What's happening, everyone? Welcome to Thursday night's Airbrush Down Dirty Tricks. We are live. It is 8 p.m. We are on time. And we are ready to rock and roll. Hopefully got the sound good. Looks good on my end. Video looks good on my end. And let's see if we get any feedback from anyone to the contrary. Everything looks good here. Time to rock. Yep, Don, it is time to rock. We are ready to go. We got Tony Bruin, John Log. What's going on, everyone? We got a few people trickling in over to... Are you from Louisiana? No, I am not from Louisiana at all. I am from Boston. Let's see. Big Squatch, what's going on, brother? We got some Down Dirty Tricks already trickling in. Thank you very much. Dan the Man Fontaine. How we doing, brother? Thank you for popping in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are getting ready to go. Let's refresh everyone what we got going on here. We got our... We're going to bring up my... Here we go. This is where we left off last week with our Jester Joker's Wildcard piece. I'd shown you guys a drawing beforehand, and actually what I'll do, just as a refresher, let's do that again, and we will show you the old replay of how we came up with this. So this was a sketch we did last week, and I did a sketch the night before that led to me vectoring it. And then I did the vector, went to Adobe Illustrator, then plotted this out on the FBS Blue Mask, which we love. A little plug for Dan the Man there. Thank you, Dan. FBS. I love all that stuff. So we designed it all, plotted it all out. And so I do have a video coming out probably this weekend or during the week. I'll announce premiere that shows how I did from this and then how I vectored it. Cut it and put it on here, so this will be a full. Oh, you meant hey from Louisiana? Thought I was from Louisiana. No. Welcome. Thank you for coming in from Louisiana. I appreciate it. Much, much appreciate it. And even last week we recorded some of the ideas for the colors, and I decided to make this one. This is probably going to be a three-parter actually because I have an idea and I want to talk about it tonight. We'll see if we want to actually go that far with it, if you guys think it be necessary. So Real Otherwise coming out, I want to get a lot of color into it. This is pretty much where I left it off last week. The only thing I left off last week is I had what I already painted, I had taken off, and I put it back on already. Because I want to really preserve that green, and I want to explain why. I'm going to preserve the green in the eyes too. And this is what I talk about the FBS. So this is going on a week now. It hasn't shrunk up. It hasn't lost its tack. It lines up perfectly where I want it to, and that's a big benefit when you're doing complex masking jobs that you gotta be working on for a while. You know, like I said, when I do like a big side of a truck and I'm doing like a 12-inch letter S, that's simple cut, I'm not gonna go for this mask. This mask is very specialty, and that's what it's for. It's for heavy design work that needs delicate cuts that's going to curve on a really nice surface, and that's why I use it for this. And something that's going to be really detailed and smooth, and I'm going to be reapplying it and applying it. Some of the other masks out there will do the same thing, but they're a lot thicker, so you get much bigger edges, and the reapplication isn't good. They tend to dry out or shrink up a little bit over time. So it just depends. When I'm doing my quick stuff, my big, huge like sides of trucks with big lettering, the everyday stuff works fine, but when you really want to get down to the heavy details and really intricate stuff, this is the mask you want. If you're doing overlays, and I'm not doing too many overlays on this one, you can use the green, which is the clear mask, and that'll go overlays like that. And then there's the classic gold as well. So, Dan, you know it. Always about the information, man. Not just because you're here. Everyone will talk about it every week. We go over the benefits of using good stuff. From paints to airbrushes to easels to everything. And that's why we love all these guys here. And they take care of me, I take care of them. So let's check in over on Facebook more. We got more Down Dirty Tricks in the house. We got 31 of you here. Big Squad John Carpenter, Rick 531, Gary Shees, Robert Meehan, Mike Gillette, Mike Manning, all you guys. Awesome. Thank you for coming. Let's give you a big old shout out. All you guys. And you guys who aren't members, you can click that QR code up there. It gets you 15% off everything in my store. Everything off my swag downloads for shirts and hats and stuff like that. So definitely take advantage of it. And we broke 50, like 53 people. Thanks to, I think it was Lindsay last week, donated 5 memberships. So that's awesome. Let's keep it going. And we got Mike Manning with the big old super chat. Thank you, sir, for that. Much, 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 much appreciated. Well, let's get going. Let's talk a little bit about colors. I didn't do the big old color list that I should. Maybe I'll edit that in after. So let me tell you what I've got, because I got a big bank of colors over here. So let me tell you what I got. We have our Wicked Hansa Yellow and Apple Green. I'm gonna switch up to my top-down cam. I want to try to zoom out a little bit. Yeah, there we go. You can see my mess. So we got the yellow, Hansa Yellow, that Apple Green. We got the Daylight Blue. Okay, these are all Wicked Opaques. Okay, and then the white. Okay, that's what I'm doing for opaques. So I'll get all the part numbers. We'll put them up there and make them look nice. For illustration colors, what we've done is I have a magenta. This is illustration color, so to act like a semi-transparent. I have a deep purple, also illustration color. I have a mixture of a burnt umber and a burnt sienna together to make this nice brown. This is going to give me my gold shadows over yellows. Okay, and then I have 2 different blacks. I have a black that has a bluish cast, and I have a black with a green cast. What I do with these is illustration black. One has a little bit of the Viridian green in it. One has a little bit of the blue. Okay, those are my colors. This one I've been using out the whole thing. I did use a little bit of Old Bone last week, which is the opaque cream, or you could use the Old Bone. And then I did mix up a couple candies. You don't feel like you have to mix these up right out of the gate. This is a long project. But I wanted to kind of talk about it so we all know what we're using for all you people following along at home. I did mix up 2 candies. I mixed the Caribbean Blue, the Cree Blue, and I mixed up an equal part Emerald Green and the Poison Green. Okay, I like those 2 together. It gives you a really nice tone. And this is what we're going to be using throughout. So the reason why I might do a 3rd video is I want to do him tonight, get as much done as possible. I don't just want a black background with a simple glow. I'm thinking of doing like a repetitive Joker background. And you guys can decide. I'm going to make these available to download too. Give me 1 second, I'm going to grab something. So I'm either thinking something, see how I have that Harlequin diamond pattern in the background and kind of ghost it and then have the card detail around it, or this Joker classic, the ha-ha-ha repetitive pattern, maybe in a chameleon. Since this is black, I was thinking doing a gold to green flip chameleon would be cool. And that'll also teach you how to do all this artwork and then countermask everything. And then we do the background as the final step and then do a big reveal. So I'm thinking that's going to be the project. So I'm thinking get this done as much as we can tonight. And then next week, we'll cover him. And then we'll do a background and a reveal and go over all that stuff. That's kind of what I'm thinking for this. And you guys can maybe I should have launched a poll. And Kaylee's not here. I don't think I can do it manually. No, I can't. Whereas we can launch a poll. Maybe I'll do one online. I'll do a quick... Keep an eye on my channel, and I'll do a short or something, and we'll add a poll to it and see which one to do. I think this would be really cool, especially if we do a ghost chameleon. I think that'll be really cool. And that'll wrap up a painting. And that way this painting, I'll have everything for this as a full course almost download. We'll go from sketch to vector to plot to application to paint and countermasking and backgrounding. I think that'll be a really cool overall piece, and then maybe we'll do prints of this and make these available for whoever doesn't get this painting. Right now there is a current bid on it at $200 from Gary Shees, and we will just let that roll until it's done, and we'll go from there. So hope everyone likes those ideas. Any feedback, feel free to send me messages, comment here. Make sure you like and subscribe. The likes are huge, man. They really do help. The shares definitely help. Share this out. Get people over to this channel. Let's get this growing. The more it grows, the more content I can make for all you guys. So, without further ado, let's do some work here. Why don't we go? I think everyone, for the most part, is digging this view. And maybe, can I put the reference up with that there? I think we can do that for right now. How about that? Is that good? I'm going to bring this down. Get you here. And everything's there. Okay, so where we left off last week was like this, except these are off. I put all these back, so I covered up all the green. Everything that's in green is now covered. I want to do blue sections and magenta on it, and I'm going to do that with one undercoat. So I'm going to use that blue, the daylight blue, to do the shading of this, and then I'm using two different candies over it to make the colors, or two different transparents. I'll use them like a purple and a magenta, and we'll have two different colors, so we'll end up with three. Same thing with the green. I'll do a green overlay, and I might even do a blue overlay and have it changed, and we'll see what that's been. Hey Scott, how been busy for the past 3-ish weeks. Haven't been able to tune in. Warlock, man, thank you for coming back. We enjoy your presence. Jeff Stiles over on the Book of the Face. How we doing, brother? Hope you are doing well. And glad your son didn't let you sell the hot rod. He totally got you. What cameras do I use? So right now, the cameras on this feed are my. I have all Lumix G7s. I didn't originally start with that. I started with like a GoPro, an iPhone, and a couple, and like a Mevo, and then I went one Lumix, and then I upgraded. So it's all DSLRs, all HDMI through a switcher. Is how I am doing this feed. And then I have like a control box with different options with my Hyper Deck and stuff like that, Stream Deck. Love the vein so far as I caught up on last week. With a Cameo, does Windows or Mac work best? Doesn't matter. You have an iPad Pro now? Cool. With a Cameo, it doesn't really matter. The software works the same. It's the same software for both. It's just whatever you're more familiar with. I don't think either one of them work on iPad, but I could be wrong. I do my Adobe Illustrator vectoring through an iPad, so I'm not 100% sure what the options. I haven't tried some stuff. I'm usually up on most things. I'm a little out on that. Alright, so for anyone following along, I've done the green. We've got this all done. I did a little tear there, that's my bad. We can... And that doesn't fully cut, okay? I didn't do a full cut. It kind of goes in there. That's fine. And I'll tell you why. I'll show you what we're doing. And this is going to be on all these, because these are all going to be starting in blue. And then we will, I'm going to leave that for the end. Sadly, the Cameo doesn't have an iPad app. No, it doesn't, but you don't really need it. Designing vectors on an iPad isn't that great, because it works. Vectors work great for drawing smooth lines, and I like Adobe Illustrator for it. But I don't like doing all the fine tuning on Illustrator. unless you have a mouse. So if you have a mouse hooked up to the iPad, it's great. So I do all my fine tuning and final work on a computer or on my iPad with a mouse. So I would do the same thing. I would do the same thing on a computer, meaning I would use like a pencil, the pencil tool freehand to draw on screen, and then I usually mouse click around and do all the final work that way. Is how I've always worked best. Now, there are some other softwares out there that do work on an iPad. I know some guys do some vector work. I've looked at them. They do work. I don't love them, but that doesn't mean they're not good. I just don't like, for what I'm used to, how I'm used to designing, I don't like the way they operate. But that's just me. I know any updates on the new iPad coming out? Nothing specific other than the newer one that just out, which will run almost everything. So like I said, you can run Adobe Illustrator full, pretty much full on an iPad. They have the app, which is really good. Or if you want to use Sidecar, if you have it on your computer already, you can actually bring your Illustrator onto your iPad itself from the computer and use the pen tool from there. Use the actual freestyle pen. So that actually works as well. So see what I did here. I pulled this off after I sprayed it. I didn't spray up too far. So now I can do this. And then I can come under and do the fold from this side. And I get that darker area, which now looks like it goes underneath. I'm going to keep it really bright here. Now I know, supposedly, but you know my feelings on Cricut. I freaking hate them. I hate their software. They're like the machines, hate their interface. Design Lab does kind of work on an iPad, but I think it's like I think because it's basically going online. So I don't know how well it works if it does it all for what we do. It might work great for like crafty setup, but I'm not going to give you 100% yes or no because I don't know. Gary, jeez. Thank you, sir. I'm just gonna increase your bid here to 225 so we know where we're at. All right, because that has a plus 25 bid. I don't want to do that with everyone. Gary, we know how to work it out. If you're gonna bid on the painting, just keep your bids over the amount. Don't. If I have to track too many people, it's too much. Gary's special because Gary is officially my biggest collector. We talked this week. We always figured he had about maybe like 10, 15 pieces. With the 3 that went out last night, I did get them in the mail last night, so they're already on the way to you guys. Anyone waiting for panels, they're all shipping. We're finally caught up. Gary is up to 30 pieces. So he has 30 of my originals. So Gary gets some special privileges. So now I'm pulling this one here. I'm going over this, down here, there we go. And now that's here. Oh yeah. That's here, that's here. There we go. Yep, just make sure, because we have a mix of the background here too, so. And this one is going over the background cards, which was laid first, so don't forget about that. Honey is in the house. Honey, what's going on? Honey's pieces are on the way. Honey's getting herself quite a large collection of work as well. I think he had 5 pieces come out. Okay, so this is the blue. Notice how I'm putting this in as if it's already has some shape to it. Even though this is an opaque, I can slowly let it out and like still get delineation. This is all going to be set up for freehand later. And you'll see what I mean. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these, but I'm going to do 2 different tones with it. I'm going to do one with blue candy over it and one with purple candy over it. And then I want to do a bright magenta somewhere, and I think what I might do is maybe I'll make this band a magenta or something. I want to get a bright... Maybe... Yeah, I got an idea. Alright, before I move on, I'm going to add a little bit of white to that blue. I have strained all my paint. We all learned our lesson last week, didn't we? For those who weren't on last night, I thought I'd be cocky and just go against my always strain rule and just go directly into the cup. And what happened? What happened is I got flakes and chunks in it. And it didn't work out. So I'm just adding a little white to my blue. And we're going to highlight it. And we'll take a little pocket graphics over here. What's going on, man? Welcome from Jersey. Little pocket graphics just to hit that and brighten that up. We'll get a little bit of wrinkle here. A little bit of wrinkle there. See how it just slowly brightens that up. Exactly. Strain that shit. Brighten this up. And go from there. Thanks for popping in from Ozzy. I never figured Illustrator out with what little time I... The issue people have when they go with Illustrator, most people, and I don't know if this is your situation, but most people I come across, they're really good at Photoshop, and then they get an Illustrator and they're like, this doesn't work at all. I know photo editing programs. I know how it works. I know how it works. You know, they can't quite figure out why. And what really happens is, the best 2 ways to explain it, and this is kind of help for everyone. I am going to be doing some tech class. I know I keep saying that, but we're going to do them. Photoshop program is photo editing, takes all the pixels and adds more pixels or rearranges pixels on the screen, like a bunch of little dots. Okay? Illustrator does not work like that whatsoever. It does nothing with pixels. Pixels don't mean anything on Illustrator. Illustrator is more of a mathematical program. So you got to think about it this way. Photoshop and design programs work on images and pixels. Illustrator works with shapes and lines. Everything is a shape or a line to another point, okay? So if you want to do, and I do this quick example, if you want a crescent moon, you put on a white, so you got a white background, what you have to do is you put like an orange, yellow circle, then you take a white circle, put it on top of it, and block it out, and then you cut it, you die cut it. So it's all shapes and paths. So, and Illustrator fundamentally, and I heard this, I forget the guy's name, he explained this from, he was from Adobe itself. Illustrator only does 2 jobs. Only does 2 things. That program of a million different things, it only does 2 things. And now everyone's going to be, no. It does 2 things. It does 2 things better than anything else. It makes straight lines and curved lines. That's it. That's all it does. Point A to point B is straight. Point B to point C has a curve. Point C to D is straight. D to E to F. And now it made a box. Now I'm going to fill that box with color. But the color's not really there because no matter how big you small or make it, it's still only those 5, 6 points that grow infinitely bigger or smaller. So it's tricky to learn, but once you get past the fundamentals, it all makes sense. That's my rant on on how that works. All right, let's see. I missed your live again. Oh, Miss Leahy's live. Yep, I missed you. I got on, Steve, right at the end. What's up, mutant? You got it. Mutant power. Oh, I thought Steve was saying mutant because Steve started playing a fresh game of Fallout 76, and I just came across a bunch of mutants earlier when I was playing. So I thought that was a reference to that, but it wasn't. I'm a dork. Just plays games. All right, this one I was gonna do in blue, but I don't know if I want. Maybe I will do it in blue, and then maybe I'll just do this area, this hat piece in magenta. Because I just want to get a bunch of color in this. So yeah, we already got the blue in here, but this is a bluish white, so this will be fine. It's a little bit lighter. I'm going to come across here. Make sure I hit that fold. Now fold that down. Alright, here we go. And now we have this fold here. And notice what I'm doing. I'm not filling it with color. I'm actually putting some ripples in here and giving it that fabric feel. I don't have one opened up, but if you wanted to give this a real fabric feel, you could actually take a like a tack rag or cheesecloth and put it over at this stage and actually put fabric texture in to the piece. I'm going to come over this side, and that's the same color. That's blue. You know, basically, I'm blocking out all my colors here. This is what I'm doing. Inkscape works. Inkscape, awesome for vectors. I love Inkscape for a free program. A little hard to learn, because you got to do a lot of sifting for different how-tos and stuff. But Inkscape has always been my referral for guys who don't want to pay for software. It's a great software. I like it a lot. I love Photoshop. I mean, I love Illustrator better. That's more refined. But it's because it kind of comes first and Inkscape kind of comes after in programs like that. Inkscape's great. It works awesome. Definitely consider. There's a couple other ones. I know I was working with Munch and Javier at SEMA. And I forget the app they were using to do vectors, but it worked really, really well. It did work great. Simon Carter, you owe me money, so you've been avoiding me. Chris Garcia, what's happening? Joe Steins, yep. Simon, Lindsay, everyone's here. Brett Sewell over on Facebook, how we doing? Anthony Cisak, I did a Goldie Master years ago with that type of Just Skull. Yeah, yep. Just the skulls are cool. I did one for this biker. Probably got to be going on. Shit, I was working in the basement of a sign shop for that one, so it's pretty darn old. All right, so we're gonna do two things here. We're gonna do one. I'm gonna grab one of my eclipses, just a standard ye olde eclipse. Oh, do I have? You know, I don't have any standard eclipses up here. I got my Takumi eclipses. And I have all my pluses up here. I need to get a couple eclipses up here. Yeah, it's open. So yeah, no, it's great. It's a great program. It's awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a magenta. If I do purple, it's going to get really dark. The magenta is going to make it like a brighter purple. Oh, no, but I don't want to do that. Because I want this to be magenta. So I am going to use a purple. This is the deep purple. Maybe I'll cut it with a little magenta. Just a little. Happy little magenta. Dope! When I'm sealing my artwork, should I use UVLS? If it's on aluminum, run that stuff through Airbrush. Yes, you can run it through the airbrush. I use UVLS all the time when I want to top coat, or if I want to like mask in between. Like this, I'm masking in between without a problem. But yeah, if you want to like kind of be careful with it, then yeah, you could definitely do. I think I'm missing something here. Yeah, you could definitely use a UVS through an airbrush or like a TH2 or something like that. All right, so which one are we gonna make? Let's do the purple on this side, because this will be purple and green. This will be a bright green. So I'm going to come into the dark areas with this purple. And I'm only going to spray a lot of it in the dark areas. Now I got to do, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to bring this guy back. You don't have to do this, but if you want to. A lot of times I do this stuff freehand, or you guys starting out, utilize your mask. You don't have to go nuts. Look, just that little bit. Now I can be a little bit less worried. I'm staying in the darker areas. And right here, I'm just going to take a loose mask. You can use UVLS over anything realistically. So once your paint's down, it doesn't matter if you're on aluminum or canvas, really. So some purple. I'm going to come right down, all the way down. So yeah, you can use it on anything. You can use as a sealer. You can use as an inner coat. And you can use it as a candy carrier. That's the best thing about UVLS. It's really a versatile paint. So see, now I got that nice purple. What I'm going to do is I want to kick it up a little bit more. So I am going to go more magenta with this one. Watch, I can go back, make some more ripples and wrinkles. So I think I'm missing. I'll watch Tim after that. I heard Tim has been going through a lot, and if everyone see him, give him my regards. I'll try to get with him, or when I see him next time. Always a tough time. Okay, I'm going to brighten that up a little bit. Now that magenta will hit that color. You see, we get that nice bright. You get that nice bright pop. Cool. So now I'm going to dump that. I need a new cup. So I do this a lot. That's why I go through so many of these. Like, I take out my mix colors that I've done, and if I mix a color like this where it's kind of midway through, I just save that off to the side and go from there. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the blue. This is blue candy. And you'll see how bright these guys get with the blue candy. Get kind of a different pop. Scott, I think I lost the Uncle Scully button. You should be able to, if you go back to your emails, you'll be able to re-download it. If you have trouble, let me know. It allows you, the way the system works, it allows you 3 different downloads. That's a nice bright blue. I'm going to do both these the same blue. That way it flips, but we'll do the greens different, I think. Now, if you want to get really crazy, what you could do here is before you do all this candy stuff, you could put some pearls and some overlays if you want to get some sparkles in there. It could be really a cool trick as well. So that was his first problem. He wasn't drinking or anything. Just a little bit more white. And then we'll hit a little bit of candy back over it. And if we get a little bleed, it's not a big deal. We can bring back in with some 40-50 and stop it midway. So now watch this. This is kind of a cool trick. We'll do it with this one. So see, this side is yellow because it's going to be green. I'm going to use the same blue, okay, that I just used. And you'll get a different green. And when I use the green candy on this, it'll be a different green. So now watch, I'm going to come from the darks now. I'm going to blend right over. I'm going to get a pretty rich green that I can bring back with yellows, okay? But now it doesn't matter if the candy washes over it. See how that works? Pasher, what's going on, brother? So see how that just gets a little different. And this is where I would probably, I can get away with this here a little bit coming across, but it's a little too blue, so yeah, we're not going to do that. I want to be using like a nice white there or something. And the key is not letting it, we got to let it dry so we don't get any super bleed or anything through it. Joe Woodward, thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Okay, so that's cool. We're good, we're good, we're good. Now I'm going to get this guy. Oh, you know what? I think I want to do this kind of magenta color area first. And I think what I'm going to do is this band that's going around his head, I'm going to leave this black. So I'm going to leave that to the end, and that'll give me a really cool separation on everything. So we should be good here. I don't need a lot of masking. I just kind of need right there covered. It's easy peasy. That's already covered. That's fine. And I don't really need this there, but because it's such a simple curve, I could just use a shield. But we'll just give it a little extra. Doesn't hurt. Right? This guy here, same thing. You know, like I said, this is a technical how-to to utilize your mask. If you don't want to utilize your mask, what are some options for you? You have the paper cut. So you can always just cut some loose edges out of this and just put it up to it. Just use a loose shield if you don't want to do all this saving and masking. You can recut, mask, and apply it, or you can just go total freehand and just kind of just be more careful about your mixtures, like wherever your paint's going. Just be a little bit more careful with it. Many, many options. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Right? As the old saying goes. You can check that from a little bit different angle. Now, I'm going to definitely need to make this brighter because it's a little bit too darker than I want it to be. Another color I'm saving is that light blue that I made. Barker, what's happening, man? Thank you for popping into week 2, part 2. Now the paper can shrink up a little bit. The paper can like bend and warp as you spray with it. You can get some issues. It depends on the mask you use. So what I like about the FBS is it really stays to shape very nice. So that's always a plus. Okay, we're gonna do a little magenta into the white. I'm gonna put a pink down. I haven't heard that in forever. What haven't you heard? What I say? Did I say something? So I just took the magenta and added it to this so I get a pink. Nice. And this would definitely be the most colorful piece. In project with the most colors I've done on this. That is for sure. Oops, I just messed up my magenta. My transparent magenta. I'm going to have to mix them up. Not going to make the same mistake. Where did my magenta go? Ah, there we go. What are we going to do before we put? We're going to strain. Need to paint your car those colors. My car? No. No, no, no. My old Magnum had nice colors. But my old Magnum is pretty much destroyed. It got into an accident. I have gone down and looked at it. They want to try to salvage it. We'll see what happens. I know the insurance company is not going to want to pay enough for the new owner to fix it. So we'll see. Honey! Thank you, ma'am. So this is just illustration magenta. Use your brain, make sure you strain. That's really lame. But cool at the same time. Kevin Goyette, what's happening, man? Saw Greg Bagley here earlier. You know what I saw last week, had dinner, we had lunch with, was Bruce Dow. Bruce Dow was up quickly in the area, and his mom lives about a town over from me. So we were able to finally get together for a quick lunch, which was great. Alright, to shade that magenta, I'm going to add a little purple in. And I want to give it almost like a hard edge shade because it's kind of close. So I'm going to use a template like this, and where it's causing a shadow, I'm just going to do that. And where this is causing a shadow like this, it's going to radius out quite a bit. I'm just going to do this, and then we'll soften that up. And that should look cool. Alright. Now eventually I'm going to do some stitching in holes. That's going to be towards the end. Alright, so I should be able to pull most of this off, including that original yellow. Oh, that original yellow's, a lot of that's going to stay, because that really, it looks so green right now. And see how we'll get just lots of color on here. Good, gotta get this off. Get this off. Oh, and there's a problem. I got a little pull right there. It almost looks like I had a little wet. I didn't wait long enough for it to dry. So we'll be able to blend that back out, no problem. We're good there, we're good there. I'm going to hold off taking those out. So what we're going to do, so that's the purple. Oh, purple's actually going to work out good. Ta-da! Awesome. So I definitely gotta, I made a mistake when I shaded this color. I put too dark a green on this side. It should be darker here. So when I get back to this towards the end, we're gonna make that work. Let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna take my candy green mix, which is a little strong. Yeah, it's greenish yellow because it's on, black. When I put yellow, if you don't get full coverage over black, you end up with that. It's like in person, you look at it, it's yellow, it's green, it's yellow, it's green. And it's really going to depend on what we do for the background. Hey Steve, while you're on, let me know what you're going to be up to later on. If you have any free roaming time. Hey Dan, you still on? You just popping back in? Thank you, sir. You know, oh my God. I just got a text message from some friends that were all in the same group. We all went to school together. And they said, are we all turning 50 this year? Is it just me? No. We're all turning 50 this year. And I have to respond to this in a funny way. I feel old. I was going to ask you if the pull spot would need a little sanding. No, because it pulled because it either wasn't really dry there yet or it had a little finger oil on it. It's mainly because it just wasn't dry. So if it was to do it again, then I might have to worry about adhesion underneath, and then I would have to scuff it and make it happen. But I don't think that's going to be the problem. Okay, so now I got my green here. I'm going to be careful with this. And I'm just going to green this. And a little overspray here is not going to hurt. It will, however, on the purple, so stay off the purple. Green coming down. And here's the thing. This looks really dark right here. When you pull this blue mask next to it, it's going to be a bigger pop as well. I'm going to hit a little bit here. And that's it. Yeah, these colors look a little weird. They don't look like that. I'm going to try to adjust the ISO a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to brighten it up. That helps a little bit. Cool. Like I said, this is all that mid-tone setup because we're still going to add highlights and dark shadows. We're going to add stitching. This is kind of... You want it to look kind of like a little oversaturated. You're not looking for the final tone yet. You're looking for a midpoint that you can punch in highlights and darks. Remember, that's how I prefer to work. I'm going to do the same thing here with this color because remember, I got this color in here. And we'll just put a little bit in on the eyes. Oh, you know what I want to do? That's too big. I was going to do like a little swirl. But, oh, here we go. Just a little Gerald. Go the man with little details here. A couple little dots in there. Just to give it a little crazy look. And if a little green gets onto the skull, no big deal, because it's going to give it that glow. Because I plan on using a little bit of green tones and things like that in here. Alright, another color I want to do. Here we go. I want to pull these off. These are kind of the buttons. Button, who's got the button? I haven't decided what color I'm going to make this gem yet. I think I need to wait, because maybe, depending where the bids go when I do, maybe it gets a little gold or silver leaf or something like that in there. For this color, I'm going to use that brown I made because I want to make those look kind of gold. And whenever you want to do, if you're not going to use gold like gold. So in my private thread, a friend of mine just said, oh Jesus, these guys are killing me. the distance from 30 is now equal, the distance from 30 to now equal now to 70. Ugh. Oh, it's a harsh thought. Anyway, I'm possessed by Rice Krispie kids. Alright, so whenever you want to do gold, unless you're going to do gold leaf, I never use gold metallic paint in here. In the term I've learned in the mini worlds, it's called, oh, I just lost it, non-metallic metal painting. So when they do the minifigures, when they paint like swords and metal, because it's such a small scale, if you paint it with metallics, it really doesn't look good because it's just too, like the flakes are too big and the silver's too big and the gold's too big. So a lot of times they paint gold by doing combinations of yellow, whites, browns, and things like that to create. In bronze they do the same way. Silvers they do like whatever casting color to white to gray to blue to green to whatever it's casting. And it works beautiful. That's something we've been doing for a long time in the airbrush world anyway, for gold. So for these gold, because I just did that semicircle, I'm just going to take a little brown, and I'm going to come across the bottom with it like this, and radius the top. I'm just going to use a shield here, and just hit that. Got a little bit of brown, starts to give it that gold feel. Then I'll come in with a little white highlight. Or even a little cream color highlight. And you get that nice gold look. Web, what's happening? Jimmy Fuji, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the show. Charlie Murtha, Rick Lever, Bradley, all you guys popping in. Taylor Kearns, thank you for that. You guys do know if you go over to the YouTube side, that's where you do get a better quality feed. It's a little funnier over there because you got about 55 people hanging out, all talking smack. Because Facebook is just meh. Alright, so see how we got that nice look there. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of white, and it can have a slight yellow, like cream cast to it if need be. So now watch, just this little bit of white, it starts to give it a more gold. It's actually a little bit of a cream color. Just that little bit of gleam. Just that little bit. We're going to come down here and do the same thing on the bell. I'll do it in reverse because they already have the brown. Definitely press that like... So the other thing to do is if you did it with white, you didn't have yellow. So watch, I'm going to take my brown. And I'll hit that first. And I'll brown in all these darker areas. And I'll even take maybe a little stencil by Pocket Graphics if I didn't lose it, if I didn't. And I'll do almost like a hard reflection line, like this. See how that just kind of, oh, you know what we're going to do? We'll bring it around like this. It's like bending around a little bit. And then we'll go back to yellow. Oh, this is opaque yellow, so I might have to go back to the brown anyway. We'll see. We'll see how this works. So now we got that on NVM. So now I'm going to come along, just hit that bright white highlight. We'll do a core highlight right along that light edge. And we'll hit all these little gleams. And I want to soften that up a little bit, and then I need to go, yeah, the brown, because this is opaque yellow, that brown really has to go over it. This is the one thing I like about doing live feeds and I hate about doing live feeds. I like it because you get to see how sometimes you got to go back and forth when it's not all perfectly planned out. Versus, I could do this how to spend 8 hours painting it, 12 hours painting it, edit out all the little things I didn't like, made it look flawless, so you know exactly what color to put exactly at the right time, exactly how much of it. And that's cool. It teaches you how to do that painting and copy that painting, and that's awesome. But what you lose in tutorials like that, which I like those tutorials, and they're great, but at the same time, when you see them like this, sometimes you get to see the backtracking and the thought process of why you're doing things. Or sometimes like that, things go wrong, and I didn't panic. So I'm going to go dark brown here. Make that darker. And I'm going to hit here, come around, and really start to get it to look more gold-like. Like, trust me, I love doing how-tos. Well, if you're going to do that much, I'm going to go ahead and bid $250. We have Michael at a full bid of $250. And remember, this auction will go until the end of the project, okay? So that's cool there, we're good. So now I can take that and do my little final my little white gleam. And I'll probably do more of those later at the very end. And just make it glow, but that looks cool. The fire feed was badass. John Steins, thank you very much. I'm going to do another one of those with fire, because I didn't get all the footage. For some reason, I didn't record half it, so I want to redo it because I'm going to turn it into an article. I've been asked to turn that kind of the do's and don'ts into a more widespread article. So there's some more things I want to cover. And what I want to do, too, is I want to cover more of the do's and don'ts and more of the fire. And I may try to do some with solvent and water comparison, just so people can see the differences and the workarounds for each. And then I may want to do one on a light surface to dark surface comparison for different tricks so you can see what works and what doesn't. And then I want to do some colored fire, so I want to do a green fire and the blue fire as well. So I'm going to be turning those into a more expansive video. So keep an eye out for that. Because I got better plans. That gives me the best one out there. There's some really great fire tutorials out there. I was happy to make one that worked well for working water-based, especially. Okay, I'm gonna try this brown. I'm gonna go a little bit into here. I'm gonna see. I'm just gonna tone that skull a little bit. I'm gonna tone the dice a little bit brown. Yeah, just so the reason why I do solvent and water, not in the same video, but I want to do like it side by side. The problem is my studio here where I film, I don't do solvent in here. So what I may do is record some solvent do's and don'ts and pluses, and then have those panels next to it. I got to figure out how to handle that. So I'm just going to tone those skulls a little bit. I don't want this skull to be brown. I want this skull to be pretty white, reflecting a lot of light, whatever is going to be over here. So I'm going to do that as well. So we still got the white in here. Swampy out of here. Michael, have a good one. Thanks for popping in. I'm just going to hit a little bright white on these guys. Add a little more detail. I'm still going to be carving some dark detail in here as well. But again, I'll probably do a lot of that towards the end. Once everything is done, even the background, I'll get this guy probably 90% done. 85, 90% done. Then I'm going to cover him. And then we're going to do that background piece, which will be next week, and the glow and everything, get that all done. And so I might do like a flip with the ha-ha up there, like we talked about. You know, with this behind him, but ghosted in the black. And then maybe like a purple glow around the letter or something like that. And then what I'll do is once that's masked, we'll do the fire here. And whatever fire here will glow that color up out of the skin. I mean the skin, out of the bone and everything else, and do all the polish up work. So like I said, this will be a 3-part piece. This will be a big one. Just little, probably not even necessary to do this right now, but yeah, I'll do this just a little. Then do a little in the eye too. Break out the shirt carton. No. You know, it's more, I want to make the feed look good, so it's always a challenge for the bounce light and everything to make everything look the same, because the lighting in the studio is different than there. We'll see. Okay, good. Good. Yeah, I'm getting to a good, decent point. You know what I am gonna do? Since someone mentioned it before, just to make sure I don't get any bleed, and I don't use the 40/40 bleed check sealer. With all them colors. All them colors. So I've only done one gesture bike in full color. I don't even know if that's on my sites anymore. It was a really long time ago. It's actually for a member of the Red Devils who I grew up with and used to work with. Long time ago. No, I got the shirt cart. This is not too far off. Alright, so what I'm going to do, just to help any bleeding issues. This is just 40-50 straight. And this will also help if I'm going to do any heavy masking. This would be a cool time if you're going to put pearl. Like you could put like a very fine pearl over this. That would correspond with all the colors. And it'll be a great time to do it. And you can also use a 40-40 bleed check sealer here. I don't love that stuff because it's really hard to get through an airbrush. Let's see. So water-based acrylics don't hold up outside if they have... Oh, they totally do. Water-based acrylic, polyurethane, salt, and House of Color. Outside, once it's cleared in 2K, it doesn't matter. It's the same paint. Most of them, John, use the same resins, in fact. So, just one resin and pigments. They use all the same pigments. Just one set of paints is carried with a solvent carrier resin to the surface and dries out. Then the other one... is carried in a water-based resin carrier. That gets on the surface. Once they dry out and cure, they're the same paint. And when they dry, they all go from there. So when I'm talking about the difference in my studio is for the lighting when I'm doing a how-to, is if I bring all my camera equipment out to the shop where I do all my solvent work versus this is my filming studio inside the house. I'm not going to spray House Color urethane inside here because it's just not set up for it. But there's no difference in either paint. In fact, a lot of cases, sometimes the water-based, I've had water-based hold up better because the pigments sometimes are stronger. Depends on the system. But I've done bikes with water, I've done cars with water, I've done ones with solvent. Done it with both. So this is just a little 40-50. Just to add some inner coat, lock down everything, maybe help with some of the lines. They're actually kind of showing some of the lines in between. And it'll kind of lock down everything once that's dried out. Which is cool. But it's really starting to come along and get a really cool. Even that, you see how that kind of popped everything out? As I go through with the darker greens and whites and stuff, this is all going to change in tone and get a pop. Like I said, I'm pretty sure the band around the neck, around the forehead, I'm going to leave that as a black band. So we're going to utilize the base color and just highlight it. And I'm thinking this little diamond guy, this may have to go something else. I'm not quite sure yet. So the pearl, you don't worry about the bleed? No, because the pearls usually flake. So you get sometimes you get a little of a bleed, but not like white. The pearl's usually hard medium. It's not going to get a bleed. And with solvent, you definitely don't worry about it. Water you just have to worry about a little bit because the dye strength in the water base is so strong. But it covers so well. There's a pro and a con to every paint system. The one thing about water-based is you have unlimited open window. Because water-based will always re-wet into itself and soften itself up. So you'll always get a chemical bond to white. It won't over-dry itself. So it won't accept another round of it. Whereas solvent, sometimes you can do that. So, I think what I'm going to do is we're going to start toning this guy. I'm pretty sure this match, I'm going to do a yellow-green fire. So I think on this side of the skull, I'm going to use the green black. The black that I mix it has the green in it. More on this side where the light's hitting. And then on this side of the skull, I'll be using the black that has the blue mixture. Which that blue mixture is also going to go in here really well. But the green, that's why I mix up my black. I don't use, if I use black straight, it's going to look really bad. Yeah, but Mark, if you are worried about it, then you just have to just give it an inner coat, and you don't have to worry about it. You're fine. And John, I hope that answers your question about the water-based. Water-based acrylics are no problem. I have decades old work of both solvent and water to attest to it. And that was my big pet peeve about water-based initially when it first came out, was I wasn't going to start using it on my work until I knew and get time in and guarantees from the companies, and they were able to pull that off and do that. Like anything, early generation was not good. And if you look back, early generation urethane paint over lacquer was horrible too. I'm glad you didn't go pink fuzzy dice. Oh, that kind of would have been cool, man. Now I wish I did. Well, the final clear coat is a urethane clear coat. There are water-based clear coats that are that will hold up just as well, but they're more for the architectural. They're not really. They don't. I don't want to say they don't. They don't get to that full 100% wet look, deep shine, unless you put a lot of it and buff it quite a bit. Like all the outdoor furniture, outdoor wooden things that breathe, water-based top coat urethanes, because they're still urethanes. It's acrylic polyurethane versus a solvent polyurethane. So the water-based stuff works way better on like woods and things that move, but on hard surface like automotive, the water-based urethanes, polyurethanes, water-based polys aren't as durable on fuel. And they aren't as wet glossy, unless you really buff them to that. Whereas solvent-based urethanes lay out ultra wet, and you almost don't need to buff them, but you can buff them, and they're more fuel safe. So that's really the only difference. It's not longevity and sun fade and things like that. It's more about the finish style. And sometimes videos from 5 years ago are absolutely irrelevant now. Videos from 5 years before that are even more irrelevant. Because the technology changes so rapidly over the years. Because I swore I'd never use it. I'm just talking artwork. All over. Yeah, you just need the urethane for the top coat, for the final top coat. I've seen some guys who want urethane candies over their Wicked Orange, and that was earlier days, really before they the water-based candies weren't really doing it, and that was before the. That was really before the Candy 2.0, so that's at least probably 5-6 years ago, maybe even more. Once the Candy 2.0s hit the market with everything, they just hit really hard. I'm not giving up the 2K clear on cars and motorcycles either, not yet. On wood finishes, for like outdoor lacquer and stuff, the water-based polyurethanes have it all over solvents, just because it moves better. You don't ever get that crack or blistering in the wood grain. But on cars and hard surfaces, it's always going to be 2K clear for me. For now. I say that for now, because it could change. My artwork, I go either way. Doesn't have to be water or solvent. Depends on the job itself. Alright, so I got my black green. Let's see. And realistically, everything comes down to preference. What I like to make sure I put out is always the proper information from people that be like, oh, you can't use solvent, you can't use water-based paints on cars, it doesn't work well, blah blah blah. It doesn't, you can't tape over it, blah blah blah. It peels, blah blah blah. No, you did it wrong, blah blah blah, and you didn't follow the instructions, blah blah blah, and you're still trying to work with water-based like you worked with lacquers back in the 70s. That's why you're having problems. It's a little thinner. No, I like the way a good slick 2K clear lays down. I've tried water-based. I think I found water-based clears, water-based polyurethanes too. Is they just don't build. They don't have that thick, high solids build. I tell you what I do like though. I do like the water-based satins and matte clears. The water-based polyurethanes. Those are absolutely outstanding, and they dry extremely even, extremely durable, extremely easy. But my caveat is this: what I do when I do a matte or satin, which is very rare, I 2K clear it first, so that way that builds over all the artwork. You get that nice thick build over the artwork. I sand that down with 800. And then hit it with 1000, so that's like super slick and flat. But sanded, all the edges are gone, there's no more ripples over edges. And then I put the matte or satin over that. And then it's just flawless. The nice thing about that too is if you get crap in it, or you didn't like the way it came out, within a certain window, you can wipe that off with isopropyl alcohol and like a reducer mix and super clean it right down to the 2K clear beneath and lay it out again with no problem. That's a huge benefit to that technique. Solvent clears give you the best look. Artwork doesn't matter. Okay, so this is my black green, and I really gotta thin it. You know, for this, I am gonna really thin it, and I'm gonna go into my micron, doing it. Oh, dude, the water-based satin over solvent is amazing. It's amazing. That's how I did the T-Rex. The Tyrannosaurus Rex at the Museum of Natural History in New York. That's how I did that. And I was really confirmed where in Lumalure, which is the electroluminescent paint, all their components are solvent except for their conductive clear coat. The conductive clear coat has all the minerals in it that catch electricity. But if you spray that wrong, the lighting looks really bad. It looks blotchy. And if it comes out that way, I've been able to wipe it off, keep it clean, and then run another pass over it. That's perfect. No, and that's always the case with anything. It's everything as good as pro. Ron Gillespie Art Studio, thank you very much. Really, really appreciate that comment. We try to be very informative and have fun. And as you can tell by some of my posts lately with some people, that I'm not afraid to voice my opinion. Didn't realize the TX was done that way. Yeah, so while the T-Rex also is done with Lumalure, and then what I had to do is after the Lumalure, because Lumalure can't go on a rough surface, it has to go on a flat surface, and the bone texture of a Tyrannosaurus Rex from a couple million years ago isn't really smooth. So we had to do a smooth out plate, do all the Lumalure, and then what I did is with a urethane resin and saran wrap and sculpting tools and brushes and all sorts of crap. I actually re-sculpted the bone texture back over the Lumalure when it was done with a clear resin, a clear urethane resin. And then once that was dried and cured, then I painted on top of the urethane resin with all the bone color textures and dust and debris. So when the light is turned off, it looks like old bones and not shiny urethane clear. It was quite the project to work on, as you can imagine. I gotta find out what that T-Rex is now. It's T-Rex, the Ultimate Predator exhibit. Because it's no longer in New York. Yeah, man, that was great to do. I was so glad when it was done. And I was so happy when they invited me to the unveil and I got to go to New York with my daughter and watch it get unveiled to the public. Well, actually, not even the public. It was like a private, donor-only event. So it was like me and my daughter and all the big-wig donors and like museum curator people. It was a good time. They gave us a tour of the museum the next day, private tour of the museum. And the night of the event, me and my daughter got to walk around the museum of natural history after the exhibit was kind of winding down. They just said, go walk around the museum. It was like 10:30 at night, nobody in the place. And we were able to just walk around the museum like it was our own private museum for an evening. And walk through, just like that movie Night at the Museum. We walked through the exhibits on our own. With nobody around. It was amazing. And then the next morning we went in and met the vice president curator. And he took us around the entire museum on his own. My micron needle is crap. So now it becomes a pick tool. Hold please. If we're gonna do it, we might as well make it right. Yeah, it's a great memory. It was awesome. To be able to do that was great. But the next day was great because he gave us, like I said, a private tour of the museum and told us about stuff and took us in the back rooms. If you've never been to the Museum of Natural History, and if you have been, just know that what you're able to see as a spectator is not even a quarter of the full museum. There's offices, there's studios, there's research labs, there's a complete body shop / like display building shop out back. Everything's done on site in-house pretty much, except stuff like what I did for them because they couldn't do it. And I guess they tried like 3 or 4 times to do it and they were not happy with it. So it was a great experience to be able to go through and learn a lot of stuff that you wouldn't have access to. Was the really cool part. Alright, so once you're at this stage, anyone follow along, and I'm saying this stuff because this video will be edited at some point. So all you guys follow along, either get your needle really polished up in your Eclipse, whatever brush you have, because we're going to start getting into the little details, and we've talked about it in other videos. I got my paint nice and strained. I lower my pressure a little bit. And now I start going in and we start doing all the little details and shading. Kind of keeping an eye out. I am going to be doing brighter colors in here, so I don't need to go full. But I'm working on little pick details. I'm going to shadow under here to make that cheekbone up here pop out. Yeah, if anyone can look up, you might not be able to find it. It's called T-Rex, the Ultimate Predator exhibit. Last time I think it was like Indiana or something like that, or Idaho. Because there's the original one in New York, and then it's like every 6 months to a year, it's supposed to be in a different museum or country on display. So I'm using this to start darkening everything in. But remember, I have it mixed with green, so it doesn't go 100% dark. So this is illustration black mixed with a little viridian green. And I'm just going in and hitting all these little details. On this side, for close to this side, I have a same color mixed with a little blue. I'll go over this side with it. But you don't want it too strong here, so I drop the pressure. I'm getting all these little cracks. This is where we go to our Bob Ross voice, and we talk soft, and we paint little skulls and little bones. And happy little bones. Happy little nasal passages. We just start going. Getting around the tops of the T-sockets, we go a little darker. A little flood stroke there to make it dark and get that socket to sink in. So, Simon, where is it now? Okay, so it's in the Parrot Museum in Dallas. Cool. So anyone in Texas, if you're in Dallas area, you can go see my T-Rex exhibit. How about some wormholes? So remember, all this stuff here, we're going to come back in and brighten it with some white later and do a fire glow from this match at some point. So just keep that in mind. And I need to get this nose curve. I want to get that nice and crisp. So I'm just going to come in here like this. Just hit it. And just pop that. See how that just set it back? That's not black, that's the same green. When you clear, it's going to pop. Yeah, I always got to remember to check where that exhibit is. And it's going on. I did it before COVID, a year or two. So we lit that up with Lumalure going on 5-6 years ago now, and it gets thousands of people a day clicking it on and off. So it just shows you that's really good. It's a good solid product. They've done right, holds up. Or at least they haven't called me with any breakage. Just shadow under that. And really just taking my time here. Let's really get up here in this eye. I'm going to really sink that back. Then I'm going to radius it. What I'm going to do with this, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to, I think that's too big. I'm going to find, I want to make it look like the eye brow is casting a shadow radius on that eye. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lift off a little bit so I get like a semi-soft highlight shadow. Yeah, I hated it too, and it was just a matter of they had to get the paint right, and it took time to make everything do what it was supposed to do, and it took a lot of us squawking that we didn't like it, and them saying why, because they'd be like, oh, it works great here in the lab. We don't care how it works in the lab. It's not working how we like to use it. And through their diligence, they got it to do it. Look at that, perfect curve. Look at that, it just fits perfect. Now I can almost black. See how much that's starting to just pop it out? Just that little bit of work. And we are at 9:36. We're doing good. Next week is all final. I think we'll keep this till next Thursday and do a full follow-up. I might do a couple little videos in between of like how I vectored it or some other little stuff like that. We'll talk about it. I said I'm going to get into maybe using the darker blue over on this side. And then we'll get him done for the night, and we can come up in here and start carving. I'm not quite ready for that yet. I don't want to jump around too much. Oh yeah, I mean, well, it wasn't like we were very good. We were very communicative with them of what we liked and what we didn't like, and they worked with us, and we worked with them, and. It's not just me, it's a lot of other painters too, Mickey and everyone else, and, guys that wouldn't work with water-based would be honest and say why, and they finally got it working. Ooh, 2:37 in the morning. Man, thank you very much for keeping up. I wonder if we got any Aussies in here that are on way late in the day now. Probably their breakfast. I was up that late playing Fallout last night. Little... Yeah, so it's all going to look really good when we start doing all those heavy details. Simon, what times were you at? Cheers, this will help. Rick Pierce, what's going on, brother? Alright, the Aussies are already ready in next Tuesday, right? Of course, I just over poured paint onto my leg. Oops. Oh, so you guys were in the same area. Well, same time zone anyway. I don't know about your area. But I'm not doing overtime tomorrow because tomorrow it's getting close to my wife's birthday. I'm going to take the day off. We're Friday, we're going to go out, look at some stuff, and then have a nice weekend. Doing those bottom. I'm not going to go fully over the teeth details. If you go back to the purple skull video or any of the pack of skull videos, which there are 6 of them, I cover teeth quite extensively and the best way to work them. And some of the tricks if you guys have trouble. Just getting these teeth into here. I'm glad I talked about each color at the beginning because now I can go back through this video and I can edit. This weekend our claw. Oh, is it this weekend? Is that here too? Nice. Late sunsets. Happy for that. Because I'm up, Massachusetts is pretty high up on the equator, so our winters are really, it's dark at 3:30 here. Whereas I get calls from friends in Florida, they're like, oh, it's 5:30 here, and it's still light. Okay. So this, I said, this had the black and the green in it. For the next 15, I'll switch up to the blue black. Oh, 11:45 a.m., yep. It's a whole different world. Oh, I got the dropsies, people. Give me 2 seconds. I just dropped my cap. Thought it went under the cabinet. It didn't. So I'm going to do the bluish black, which on film, like there's actually film anymore. It'll probably look the same on camera. You can just see the slight difference in tone. So this is more of a bluish gray tone than a green tone. Your help. Yeah, Kaylee's in her senior year. And so much going on that she's just got so much to do that it's hard for her to... She's wiped out by the time this time of night comes on to help in the feed. She'll get back on at some point. Sharon's on by. Thank you for popping in. Oh, you're in Mass as well. Whereabouts? If you don't mind. You don't have to. Welcome to the channel. Welcome from the almost northernmost part of Massachusetts, just about the New Hampshire border, right on the coast. Thank you for popping in. So see how, yeah, this has that little bit of a bluish gray tone. This side had the green tone. When it comes to later, once we mask this off and kind of get the whole bearing, we'll get a different greenish glow over here. And this will have a more natural bone, kind of grayish, kind of light source on it. I might do a blue secondary, like rim light off this side. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how it goes. But this color is also going to be really good for up in here. So watch when I'm going to do some stitches. Oops. So when I do the stitches over here like this, it's going to be nice black, and we'll do the dots for the holes. And then I'm going to come in and highlight them with white. It's going to work really well. We'll get to that as we get towards the end. I'll make it a little bit more transparent before I do this. And maybe some brush work in there. Marty Martinez, thank you very much. It's definitely a fun project. And I'm glad how this all worked out and stemmed off of. This stemmed off of I did a drawing night. Oh yeah, I'm familiar with Palmer. So I spent a lot of time out in the Springfield area too. My daughter shows horses, so we used to show. We haven't showed in the past 2 years, but we were always at the Big E Fairgrounds. Get out that way quite a bit. I'm up in the Merrimack, Massachusetts area, near Newburyport, up on the coast. Welcome to the show. I need more reducer. It's thicker than I want it to be. Hello Sharon, we thank you for popping in. We do this every Thursday night typically, and there's added shows during the week sometimes. We usually announce it. My shorts, I usually announce it, and my Facebook page and Instagram page will announce what I'm doing when. And we have a member section here that we update and keep everyone kind of aware of what's happening. It needs a little, every cheekbone needs a little crack in it. Yeah, you can see that green tone and how it kind of sets that apart a little bit. Turn your airbrush. Oh, you turned it. No, I know. I want it down. I'm playing with that balance where I want the detail low because I want to get in really slow. This is why I tell people when they ask air pressure, like, what do you prefer? I like it once it sprays right. That is my answer. I think for tonight I'll get all this done right here. And next week we'll finish up the wrap up. So we'll wrap up the final details. We'll mask them off and we'll blow the background in, do this, pull it off, final, and that'll be done. That'll be 6 hours worth on this video, but I'll eventually edit it down for you guys so it'll be like a nice 2-hour how-to. Because there's a lot of chatting and talking in this. I want to get dark under here. Oh, up from here, if you wanted to put it back, you can. So if you guys are saving your pieces, if you've been saving your pieces, I know I haven't put a piece back in a while. But right here, the back of the jaw, right here, so you can always do this. If you want to get a hard line delineation, you can pop right in like this. And now you have that nice separation. Sure. Great live information. You've got a really cool project going. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. I always like to make a good first impression. Definitely go back. Got a couple hundred videos over the years, and I'm trying to make them better and better and better. And I'm actually to the point now where I'm going to go back through some of my first year's videos during COVID, and because they were with the older cameras and the not as good lighting and sound. And I think we might bring some of those old how-tos back to the forefront and redo them. Definitely want to do a Black Widow live, since the Black Widow was one of the real videos that kicked everything off for me here. I really want to keep these teeth shiny. So I make sure I don't oversaturate them. I can always keep adding. Remember that one rule. You can always add more dark paint. So Marty, right now the bid on this is at $250 for this piece as of now. And the bids will stay active until next week's final feed. Next week will be the final feed regardless of where we end up. Because if I don't get it 100%, it'll be in the 90 percentile range. So it would finish on an overtime or something like that. I'm going to do a little coarse shadow right across that eyelid. Update on the Stormtrooper helmet piece. Update on the Stormtrooper helmet piece. I don't have a Stormtrooper helmet piece. Oh, I did do a Stormtrooper piece a while back. Yeah. An updated version of that, you mean? That could be cool. Oh, I don't know if any of you guys follow the airbrush artist Fito, F-I-T-T-O. He's a Canadian master skull airbrush artist. I'm sure everyone here knows who he is. I see the Stormtrooper one he's doing now is amazing. It's awesome. It's so good. So fun. If that doesn't get him a cease and desist, I don't know what would. It's Stormtroopers in a strip club with pole dancers. It's it's awesome. And here dark. Yes, I think we're just about where we want to be on everything. Before everything else from here is kind of final. You almost need it unmasked to see like what else needs to be brightened up. You know, we can use this black in here. Get him done. The next week, you know, we'll bring in some brush work too. So we are bidded up again. Gary, thank you very much. To $300, and that's with your $50 in chat money. So $250 plus 50. We'll keep her there, sir. Thank you, thank you. I know you can keep track too. I'm just trying to keep track in my head so I know where we are. Thank you, sir. This is going to be a fun piece. This is going to have a lot going on. I really want to hit a little bit here. It's a little too dark for that. I'm going to thin it down before I go here. So I don't want to do too much there. I think we might be at a stopping point for the night, people, which is 5 minutes to 10. I think that works out to be just about right. So recap where we were at. We came in, we did everything this color. We only had the green and the white done. We came in, we did each color here in the blues. We did a purple, we did a blue candy blue candy over this yellow, and green candy. We did magenta, we did a little brown, we did the white here. We did the brown gold here, a little brown tint. Here, the green in the eyes. And now we did the green black on this side and the blue black on this side. And that is where we are staying at this point. Next week, we are going to wrap it up and finish this guy to like probably the 80% point or so. And then we'll unmask it. We'll leave these. We'll leave this lettering. Probably put a, depending on time, I got to think. We'll put this mask on. I think we're going to use this one. And I'll probably do a chameleon over that background. And then a glow around the lettering and the match. And then we'll unmask everything and do the final details and wrap up. And little brush highlights. And the ultimate card gesture piece will be done. I had an awesome time doing this feed. It's been fun to do. It's been a lot of darn colors, which now I'm going to have. The only problem with waiting this long is I got to mix all these colors again next week. So luckily I got them all written down this time, so I know what I did. So we'll get it all done and mapped out for next week, and I'll try to do some incidental videos in the middle to kind of fill in the gap, and we'll go from there. Have an awesome weekend, everyone. I'm going to enjoy the weekend with my wife for her birthday, and then we're going to have a good time and go out and do some stuff, and then next week we'll get back on track, and I'll see you next Thursday night. We'll go from there. What brand of paint are you using, Marty? This is Createx colors for this video is what we're using here. And that's it, guys. Thank you to all my Down and Dirty Tricksters, all you awesome supporters. If you are not a member, join up now. Get up there. You get 15% off all my downloads in McKayFineArt.com, which includes this project here. These files are up on download right now. They're available. A lot of you guys have done it. So that's also awesome. I can't wait to see what some other people do with that. So enjoy, everyone. Have a great time. See you all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.